Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Noach, and it's a story with which we are all familiar, but a dramatic story nevertheless. We are told about mankind's rapid decline, the downward spiral. Just last week we read about the new dawn of humanity, Adam and Chava, and yet just the Parsha into the Torah HaKedosha, we once again find ourselves confronting man's negative behavior to the point that HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels compelled, has no choice but to erase mankind and to start again, identifying Noach as the second Adam Harishon, as the second father of humanity. And the Torah records something amazing. The Torah says, this is in Perek Zayin, Pasuk Zayin, chapter 7, verse 7. The Torah writes that Noach entered into the Teva, he entered into the ark, Mipnei Me Hamabul, because of the waters of the flood. And Rashi makes an astonishing observation. Meaning, before you get to Rashi, you look at the pasuk and say, okay, Torah's telling us Noach's waiting outside, it begins to rain, the wind picks up, it begins to get a little bit intense, and then Noach enters into the Teva. But Rashi says something amazing. Rashi writes, Af Noach miktane Emunah haya. Noach was small in faith. He was small in faith. What does this mean? The way Rashi understands the verse is as follows, that Noach is waiting outside. And even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him the flood was going to come, and even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him that you're going to have to enter the Teva, Noach doesn't enter the ark until he absolutely has to. He doesn't enter the Teva until there is no choice, because the rain is so intense, the storm is becoming so fierce that he has no choice but to seek the protective refuge of the ark. But he didn't go in until he had to. Af Noach miktani Emunah haya. Just like the rest of mankind lacked belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Noach lacked belief as well. And the great tzaddik Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev is so bothered by this Rashi. How can you say that Noach lacked belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu? First of all, the Torah itself tells us about Noach that he was a tzaddik, that he was righteous. The Torah itself tells us that Noach was tamim, that he was complete. The Torah tells us that God is speaking directly to Noach. So how can you tell us about a man who the Torah identifies as righteous, as a tzaddik, as a tamim, the man who's talking with Hashem, the man who took it upon himself to build the ark, even though he became the subject of derision in the eyes of all of humanity, he became the man of God. And now you're going to tell me that he lacked faith? So the Rebbe advances an incredibly beautiful and novel interpretation. And the Rebbe says, to appreciate this phrase in Rashi, you have to ask yourself a different question. Why didn't Noach daven for his generation? Why didn't he daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to spare them, to save them? You know, there's so much comparison between Avraham and Noach. Avraham hears that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to destroy Sodom and Amorah, 5 cities filled with very wicked people, and he springs into action. He davens, he advocates. Noach hears that all of humanity is going to be destroyed, doesn't say a word. No advocacy, no petitioning HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no defense mounted on behalf of humanity, seemingly in acceptance. Ask the Rebbe why. See, Noach gets a very bad rap. You know, Noach is sometimes called the tzaddik in pelts, right? The righteous man in the warm coat and the fur. That it's freezing outside, everybody's freezing, but as long as I'm in my warm coat, I'm okay. And Noach often gets that reputation, but Rabbi Levi Yitzchak does not believe that. Again, the Rebbe says someone who the Torah calls a tzaddik, a tamim, someone who HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to in direct dialogical connection. You can't say that such a person like that doesn't have faith. So what does it mean? Why didn't Noach daven? And the Rebbe says something so beautiful. Because Noach didn't believe that his power of prayer held any sway. See, Noach, when he looked at himself, saw himself as the same as every other member of the generation. He saw himself as a regular guy, as ordinary. He did not see himself as different or unique from amongst anyone else around him. It didn't occur to Noach to daven, because Noach didn't think that his tefillos would accomplish anything. Noach didn't think that he had any power, that he had any say, that he had any sway. He didn't think that he possessed the ability to affect change. Why? Because he thought he was ordinary. But on a deeper level, why? Because he didn't believe in himself. Because he didn't realize that maybe somehow on some level he actually had the ability to affect change. He never davened, not because he didn't care, chas v'shalom, not because he lacked compassion, not because he lacked empathy, but because he didn't believe in his own personal ability to affect change, says the Hilagad of Levi Yitzchak Berdichev. That's the meaning of this statement in Rashi. Noach miktane Emunah haya. Everyone reads it as Noach was small in his faith, and we automatically assume that it's referring to faith in Hashem. But says the Rebbe so beautifully, no. Noach miktane Emunah, Noach's faith in Hashem was just fine. Noach believed in the Ribono Shel Olam. What's the proof? The proof is anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him to do, he did. There was never once where God said, do this, and I'm not sure if I should do it. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him to do crazy stuff, build an ark, 3 stories, animals, this, food, stockpiling. Everybody thinks he's crazy. Everyone thinks he's lost his mind. But Noach has Emunah. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. So what does it mean that Noach was small in Emunah? He lacked Emunah in himself. His belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu was rock solid. It was his belief in himself that was fundamentally eroded, or belief in himself that really didn't exist. Noach believed in God. He didn't believe in himself. And because he didn't believe in himself, says the Rebbe, he never davened. Because why would Noach think, if you don't believe in yourself, why would I think that my tefillos could impact or affect any change? And Noach is standing outside of the teva. Why? Because he's assuming, I'm a regular guy, just like Chaim, just like Yankel, just like Ruvain, just like Shimon. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saving me, he's certainly going to save them. So he waits outside, assuming that other people will be joining him. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saving ordinary me, he's certainly going to save others as well. It is only when it becomes impossible to remain outside, because the waters, the rains were becoming so intense that he had to go inside, that ultimately he left, that he enters into the ark. But says the Rebbe, everybody misunderstands Rashi's statement. When Rashi says, Af Noach miktani Emunah haya, that Noach lacked faith, it wasn't faith in Hashem, it was faith in himself. And dear friends, what a profound yesod, what an overwhelming concept. Because how many times in life do we pass up on opportunities because we lack faith in ourselves? And this is my simchachoyim, it happens every day. I'm offered an opportunity. An opportunity comes my way. Sometimes they do just show up. I'm presented with an opportunity. And we like to often say things like, it's not the right opportunity. Or it's not the right time. And sometimes indeed it's not the right opportunity or it's not the right time. But so many times in life, it's not the right opportunity or it's not the right time as a cover. That's not really it. It's that I actually don't believe in my ability to come through. I don't believe in my ability to be successful. I don't believe in my ability to rise to the occasion. So I hide behind things like not the right opportunity or not the right time. But in reality, I just don't believe in myself. I just don't really believe in my ability to affect change. You ever think for a moment what would have happened if Noach did believe in himself? What would have happened if Noach would have petitioned the Ribono Shel Olam on behalf of humanity? What would have happened if Noach would have said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no, I won't let you destroy the world. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I will not let you destroy the Jewish people after the sin of the golden calf, after the sin of the spies. What would have happened? What would have happened? Truth is, we'll never know what would have happened. But who knows what could have happened? One man didn't believe in himself, and therefore he did not advocate on behalf of humanity. One man didn't believe in himself, and therefore he stays outside of the ark until the very last minute. How many opportunities in life do we miss because we don't believe in ourselves? When we look in the mirror, what do we see? Do I see someone of significance? Do I see someone of ability? Or do I just see someone ordinary, run-of-the-mill, maybe even mediocre? Each of us possesses so much koach, so much strength, so much ability. There is power that is bubbling up inside of us that is yearning to get out. If we would just find the right opportunity to plug it into. We are not ordinary. We are not mundane. We just have to begin believing in ourselves. The worst sin a person could commit, we think, is to lack emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Emunah in Hashem always comes in waves. And there are peaks and there are valleys. There are times when my emunah is stronger, times when my emunah is weaker. But it's just as important as believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is believing in ourselves. Mankind was lost, and maybe it could have been saved if one man had believed in himself. Maybe. We'll never know. We have to make sure that we don't let the opportunities for self-actualization, growth, and the ability to impact the world around us slip through our fingers because we don't believe in ourselves. May we be Zochem Yirtz Hashem to foster, to bolster, and to nurture a beautiful emunah belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But may we also find the personal strength to believe in ourselves as well. Wishing everyone a beautiful Erev Shabbos and a Guten Shabbos Kodesh.